Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we successfully load our props data into the class-based component, right? So that is our class-based component. So now in this video, I want to create one of the new component, and here that is our class-based component. Now that is our test. Okay, that is our test functional component. Right now we don't need this. I simply close it. And also in our index.js, here I want to make it as a clean. Okay, I want to make it as a clean. Right now that is our app is loaded. App is loaded means in our home directory, this first component will be loaded as an app. Okay, that means that is actually our app. So right now if you remove everything, I simply remove our test, I simply remove that person. Now I simply remove everything. Now you can see it's not highlighted because that is not activated, right? Right now also you don't need both of this. I simply remove it, which is totally fine. Now that is totally clean. Only one component is loaded in our index, that is our app, right? If you now click as a save all, now that should be loaded only one component. Yeah, you can see one component is loaded. But right now if here if you want to load another component, you can also do that work. Like if you go to our app, and this app, that is one of the div, right? And into this div area here, after that if you want to load another component, you can load it. Like I have already created one of the class-based component as a person. So if you want to load this one in here, you can also load it. Like I make it as a person, click as a enter, and now I close it. And when you click as a enter, automatically that will be import that person from to the person, right? You can see that is our new component is now loaded. Now if you click as a save all, and into the person component, I declare some of the names. So right now we don't need these props. I simply remove it. Also I remove it, and also I remove it. Okay, now that is our class-based component of the h1 tag. So now this h1 tag should be displayed. Click as a save all, and now if you go, and now if you refresh, yeah, you can see it's already display our name as a class name as a base component. That means a class-based component for test. Okay friends, so right now our index is very clean, and into the index I only loaded one component, that will be our app component. And now into this app component, in our this div area, I loaded our another component. So if you want to load that multiple component, you can load it in here. Okay, which is totally fine. I hope you get some of the idea. So everything I will actually do in here. Right now there is a person on, I don't need this, I close it. And if you remove this person, you can see that is also now not highlighted. I also want to remove it. Click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, yeah, you can see that is only one. Great. So now I want to create another component. I want to create another functional component. So if you want to create it, then in our src, better I want to make it as organized. Into the src, I want to create another new folder, and I just name it as a components. Okay, so I name it as a component. So I simply created one of the folder as a components, and all that our components I will save in particular this folder as a component folder. Okay, so into this components folder, I want to create another new file, and I just name it as a book. Okay, book.js or jsx, whatever you choose, you can use as per your demand. So better I make it as a js. Okay, that is always a book.js. So now I want to create one of the functional components. So if you create this functional component, that will be the import. First of all, I want to import that React. Okay, that will be the React from to the React our module, and simply I load it, and then I take that constant with this constant, and then I name it as a book, right? So that will be the book our function, that is a component name, and then I want to create another functional component. So then that is our function, that is the array function I simply created. Okay, I simply created in here. Great. So I simply created our function component in here. So when you create any function, also it will be return some of the value. I make it as a return, and then our return type. So that is actually the main basic structure. And also make that sure here you have to add the div. Okay, whatever the things right now you want to do, you have to do that things in here. Okay, so that means in our this div position. So here I want to take one of the h1 tag. I make it as a, and this is book page. Okay, so this type of one of the page, and also now I want to access it in our app, right? Right now our index is JS is totally clean. Right now we don't need this. Where I close it, index HTML also we don't need this. Only we need that book. and also there is app. So here I want to import this book. So if you want to import it from here, also we have to export it, right? So I simply want to export. That will be the export default, export and export default. So that will be the export default, our name as a book. Perfect. I hope it's very much clear to you. So right now from here I simply export it. Now you are able to access it. So if you want to access it in our app, into the app, like after that I want to load this book. So that will be as a book. So I simply loaded. You can see it's also suggested there is a book from our component folder, and then there is a book. So if you now select it, automatically that will be import this book from our components book. You can see our book is now loaded. I simply close it. So now after this, that should be loaded. Now click as a save all. Now there is another component as a book component. So into this book I name it as this is book page. Now let's check this out. Now if you refresh it, now you can see after that there is our another component as a book component is loaded successfully. And also from here, if you want to pass some of the object data, you can also pass it. That will be just like that same before. Right now before I take it into the index. Right now our index is totally clean. Into the index I loaded only one component as an app. Right, friend? I hope you get some of the idea how that all functionality exactly working, how that of all that our file structure by default into the React.js. Simply understand that is our index. Into this index, that is our main root page. You can see that is our root page. So here I loaded only one component, and then our into this this component, when that will be loaded, I want to load out another component. So now I want to do in our this component area, here I want to pass some of the object value. If you want to pass this object like here, after that I want to name it as some of the book name. Okay, book name. I name it as a book name. For the book name I want to pass some of the string value as a think and grow rich. Okay, think and grow rich. And also I want to pass that writer name. Writer I want to pass that as a whatever name actually choose. I make it as a George. Perfect. So also I want to load another one. Then our another will be loaded. Better I copy it and paste it for the 3 times. Another book I make it as a rich dad and poor dad. Okay, rich dad and poor dad. So rich dad and poor dad, that is for the QC, but right now I name it as a Dan Brown. Okay, Dan Brown. And also I want to take another one, one of the favorite book as The Alchemist. So that is The Alchemist. Okay, The Alchemist, and this Alchemist is written by Paulo. So I simply loaded that Paulo. Great. So from here I pass 2 of this object as a book name and then the writer. So I simply pass both of these. Now if you want to access all that our data in our book component, here that is our book component, right? So into this book component, if you want to receive it, we have to receive it by the props, right? I have already discussed about that things with you before. So here we have to get this. I make it as a props data. So that will be as a props data. I simply loaded these props. And now I want to do here, that is our name, right? I want to do and to simply loaded both 2 of these. One will be as a book. Okay, book name will be what? Book name will be, so if you want to access it, every data in our which position, it will be data in our props, right? So that is our props, and props our book name. So here our property name as a book name. So I copy it. So that will be as a book name, and also I want to take another one, but I want to take another h2 tag. Okay, that will be as a h2 tag, and that will be as a writer will be same. I want to add that with this props. So that is a props, and then our another name will be as a writer. So I copy it, and now that will be as a writer, right? So now that should be display. Click as a refresh. That means save all. And now if you go refresh it, yeah, you can see there's a book as a think and grow rich, writer name, rich dad and poor dad, writer name, and The Alchemist, and then writer name. That is totally now dynamic. So I hope friend you get some of the idea how to create some of the new components. So that is one of the functional component here I have created, and also I pass some of the props data. In our next video I want to discuss about that states. So what exactly that is states, like from here that is one of the component data, right? So one component from to this area they have some of the object data. I simply pass one component to the another component. Friend, simply understand and remember all that basic code things. So that will be very important one of the part. Like just simply understand, like that is one of the component as a app component, another component I have developed as a book component, right? So when you pass any data from one component to the another component, then you have to receive all that your data with the props. But if you want to pass the same data, that is all that our dynamic data, right? So if you want to pass the dynamic data, in particular the same component, then you can store all that your object data with the state. Okay, so that will be as a state. So in our next video I will discuss about that states and how can working with these states. I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.